This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Castles of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Castles. Available on Amazon, in Kindle and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys and welcome to another exciting episode of Stories, The True and the Fictional, the podcast that is supporting indie people from all around the world. I am one of your hosts, Jay O'Brien, but with me always is our resident reader, Ryan. How are we going, Ryan?
I am living the damn dream, my friend. I'm doing good. Lots of horror this month. Well, seeing that it's actually not this month anymore because we're in the future. It's the 1st of November. But I just realised in saying that it may not be the 1st of November when this drops. So forget everything. But yeah, it's been a great October. Lots and lots of horror read and watched and played by myself. I haven't done a lot of reading over the last 2 nights. I've been feeling a bit unwell, but I did manage to read the next chapter in your fantasy story, which is really good. So, but I am going to see a non-horror movie today, which is very surprising for me. I'm going to see Keanu Reeves' new movie, an angel called Good Fortune. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's seen as seen as every movie I've seen this month has been horror. I think it'll be a nice change.
It's a nice contrast too, from demons to angels.
Exactly. But I'm kind of sad Halloween's over, but if you're a true horror fan like me, Halloween's never really over. It's just we Halloween is when we get to be ourselves and get lots of different good horror stuff coming out.
You can always hang on by watching, what's that, Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever? That's
I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all.
I'm sorry I said it.
You should be, and I'm never talking to you again unless it's on this podcast.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on. We have sponsors Rebecca Castle and Martin Kearns. Please check them out. Their links are in the show notes. Their ads run all through the episode. So check them out. They're great people. Buy Ryan's shirt. He wants you to live the dream. You too can live the dream. And anyway, let's bring in our guest. You've seen him walking his dogs and talking about author stuff. Russell Carroll, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here, guys. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
It's going to be fun.
And I could at least I can say to you, Happy Halloween, because it
is you can.
Halloween over there. We never do podcasts on Halloween, or we do it on our Halloween where it's not really Halloween. So yeah, it's nice to be able to pass that along.
Yes, I love Halloween. And now I will have to say, though, I do like A Nightmare Before Christmas. My kid loved it for about 5 years straight. We watched that movie constantly. We've decorated our Christmas tree Nightmare Before Christmas, starting sometimes in October. And so, yeah, I got to say I love that movie.
Yeah. It is fun. I love that style of animation. I always have. It's just, it's fun. And on Christmas, we have a friend that has his Christmas tree up all year round. It's pretty funny. Like it's in the corner. He just can't be bothered putting it away.
It makes it easy.
So it's Christmas all year. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, for those who don't know, who is Russell Carroll?
Who is Russell Carroll? Gosh, that's a good question. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm 55 years old. I am a fantasy author of epic D&D inspired, old school D&D inspired fantasy novels. I've written 2 of them, working on the 3rd right now. A father, husband, and a crazy animal collector. we've got a zoo, a menagerie over here. So if anybody who's followed me on X or seen my YouTube or whatever, you'll see tons of pictures of our reptiles, 2 reptiles, a snake, 2 birds, 2 dogs, ton of stuff. They're actually, the reptiles are from your neck of the woods, so you guys would be very familiar with our northern blue tongue skink and our Achy monitor lizard. So,
yep.
2 Australian species there.
Yeah, it's really funny. I used to work in a factory probably like 10, 15 years ago, and we had a lot of let's say like workers from all regions of the world. It's very multicultural. A lot of them could hardly speak English. And one day I saw like about 10 of them running out of the factory, like freaking out. And it was a blue tongue lizard.
That was it?
It was a blue tongue lizard, and they were freaking out. And then I just went, and I think even our supervisor was freaking out. So, and then I went and just picked it up. I'm going like, why are you scared of this blue tongue lizard?
Yeah, the one we've got, we named him Dewey. He is just like the most chill dude ever. I can't imagine why anybody. I mean, I guess when they stick the tongue out and give their threat display, they can look a little freaky, but I mean, it's super cool.
And when we have so many more animals that could kill you, like it's like
really, right?
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, but
I must apologize. I didn't leave the podcast because you said you loved Nightmare Before Christmas. I apologize for that. But yeah, people are wusses over animals out here. Like, I mean, if it's a spider, I'm out because I have, as our listeners know, I have severe arachnophobia. But other animals, it's like it's fine. Like we've had. In our old house at Marion, we had, I think, 3 lizards over the 10 years that we were there, like big size ones, in the house. Actually, it was funny. Once I had these, Jamie might remember, I have these, my wife got me for our wedding, these beautiful statues that are about this big of Batman, Catwoman, and the Joker from the Arkham games. Really expensive on really nice, like pedestal kind of thing. And it was so funny. One night we were watching TV and I looked up at the Joker and a lizard was curled around the Joker's arm. Joker's arm was out with a gun and it was curled around the arm. And I said to Steph, my wife, I look, oh, look, there's our lizard friend. So we caught him and we put him outside. And then, but yeah, some people are wusses when it comes to animals like those out here.
Yeah.
I don't tend to think of myself as too much of a wuss, but I have seen some of the spiders you guys have.
Yeah,
I think I would be a little freaked out seeing one of them crawl up the walls. I mean, for us over here in California, we've got like the black widows that get maybe, this big, and they freak a lot of people out, but no thanks for yours.
I can't deal with the spider, whether it's that big or that big. I can't, even if it's a tiny little daddy long legs I can deal with because they're like really thin and they don't really have like that mass to the body. But we have spiders out here that are some of the biggest in the world. They're not dangerous, but they're called the huntsman spider. And they can get up to about that big. And when you see one crawling across the wall in the middle of the night, and you can't reach it because it's up high, and it's weird because my wife loves spiders. She wants to get pet spiders, but I'm like, no, that's grounds for divorce. I can't.
Yeah, no, thank you. No.
Yeah, the only time I can't handle spiders is when I'm driving and they're on the car because the huntsman's the big ones. They are prolific for crawling into your car, like not always in the car, but then you start moving and it starts crawling along the car. So you'll see it on the windshield at night and you don't know if it's inside or outside.
No.
That's the only time I'm afraid. I get them in my house probably a few times a year. I just get the Tupperware container, do the cardboard trick, and then take it outside and get fed to the birds. I'm okay with it. But then I live in a national park, so if we're going back to lizards, Ryan's talking about little lizards. Like I put a video up the other day. We got like a 2 meter long lizard, called a lace monitor. And they're pretty scary. Like when you see them, because they're just like dinosaurs. But
Yeah, the monitors, our whole family, we watch all the YouTube videos of all the different people with all the different water monitors and the lace monitors and all. That's why we got the Ackie monitor, but we didn't want one so big, but we wanted one that you could look like a monitor lizard, but they only get, a foot and a half long. So
yeah. No, our goannas are huge. They're I remember going to a youth camp and we started. It said don't feed it, and we started feeding it like hot dogs, stuff like that, and it just kept coming back, and it was scary. They could probably kill you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, I think Ryan will be back in a second. I think his internet's playing up, but why don't we get the ball rolling with our lovely icebreaker questions?
Sure.
Now, this first question has been evolving because everyone's been getting very Miss University with it. Like they want to say what people think they want to say, like But we want you to be selfish. So Ryan likes to say, imagine a world where there is no wars, world peace is achieved, no one's being cruel to animals, and all the typical things out of the way. The world's almost perfect. The world's almost perfect, but it's up to you.
I'm ready.
It's up to you to make it even more perfect. So with that in mind, if you could get rid of anything in the world, what would it be?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I went totally with the pet peeve, selfish. I thought briefly of world peace, but glad you put that caveat out there. So I just went totally selfish and said, need to get rid of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Basically, almost anything Disney Star Wars. Rogue One's okay. Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are pretty good. Andor, I guess, and that's about it. So pretty much anything else, Disney Star Wars, definitely the sequel trilogy has to go.
Yeah, I think the best thing they actually did, and it's pretty funny because the story behind this, but like the end of season 2 of Mandalorian when they did Luke Skywalker, that was perfection. But at the same time, they were furious when Jon Favreau did that because they snuck Mark Hamill onto set. They didn't tell anyone. They even wrote him as a different character, so no one knew, not even the make. And I think Kathleen Kennedy was furious. Just like
I'm sure, but it blows my mind because ever since the sequel trilogies come out, that's kind of fractured the fan base, especially The Last Jedi, and then of course The Rise of Skywalker. But yet, when Mandalorian season 2, that last episode hit, the fan base united again. Yeah. It was a collective, yes, this is what we want. And so it just blows my mind that Disney couldn't see that and just totally understand that this is what the fans want.
Yeah.
And then they just threw it away again.
It's just like, it's not that hard. Like,
no,
they had all what's the series, like the extended universe, all the books.
Yeah.
They could have drawn from that. But,
And didn't Kathleen Kennedy or J.J. Abrams, one of them said something stupid when Force Awakens came out, like, well, we don't have a roadmap for making these sequel movies. We kind of had to wing it or come up with scratch. And I'm like, with you, like, what do you mean you have a roadmap? You had, 150 books or 200 books or whatever you could have pulled from. What?
Yeah. There's a reason Deadpool worked so well, because they drew it straight from the comics, and it just worked. But
he is Deadpool.
And now he's Disney.
They did pretty well with the Deadpool and Wolverine. The movie overall is a little uneven, but they still nailed the character.
Yeah. So. Well, a lot of people argue, about Deadpool being Disney and can he really be PG? And I personally think it could work because he would know he's being censored.
Yes, and he would make the joke about that. I'd love to say this, but Disney's going to come down. He can make a joke.
Yeah, he can work on so many levels. Ryan, you're back.
They did that in the latest movie. I think there was a scene where he's like, when he was on the couch with that old lady that he lives with, and he says, you can't take cocaine anymore because Feige vetoed that or something like that. I remember him saying that. I apologize, my Wi-Fi just keeps dropping out. If it does it again, I'm just gonna do it on my phone.
Okay.
It's just my Wi-Fi drops out on the computer for whatever reason since I did these updates, but we'll just try our best.
Well, for a little recap for you, Russell's getting rid of the Disney Star Wars.
Okay. I think I'd be okay with that.
And
All right.
now it's up to you to ask the next question, Ryan.
Okay. No worries. Okay, Russell, what's something that is on your bucket list?
I think more travel, specifically foreign travel, and probably a lot of people say this. I'm pretty well traveled around the United States, been to quite a few states here, but not so much internationally. I took like one of these small like Mexican cruises that stop like in one port in Mexico or something. But I think once I get the two kids off and out of here, the wife and I would like to hit Italy, maybe even Australia. My sister's been there. She loved Australia and New Zealand in her visit about a decade ago. So yeah, definitely bucket list would be more international travel.
Excellent. Yeah, we get that a little. I think Japan's probably our most common response
That's
to
another
travel.
one.
Yeah, I think it's
huge Godzilla fan here. So they have something there like some zip line that's got like Godzilla's mouth or something. So I said, that's a bucket list.
You can zip into his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
How good? Have you watched Godzilla -1?
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Oh, how good is it?
So good. So I mean, it rivals the original. I mean, it is just so good.
And now they're working on the sequel, and they released the concept art with Mechagodzilla. I'm going, even that looks so cool, you know.
Oh, is Mechagodzilla supposed to be in the sequel?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I will definitely love to see their take on it. I didn't love the Mechagodzilla in the legendary last one, so I would like to see their take on Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, no.
I think with the Mechagodzilla, in that movie, I think they were just like, we need to put in as much as possible. Over the Godzilla Kong movies, they brought in there was a Godzilla King of the Monsters where they brought in pretty much all of the all of the old villains, if you call them villains, I suppose. And then they were like, oh, everyone needs Mechagodzilla, so we're just gonna bring him in. Like it was when we watched the movie, it was like a oh wow moment, but when you think that the guys who did Godzilla -1, which in my opinion was the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen, are now going to do it. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm on board.
Yeah, it's almost it's almost like the IP belongs with the people that made it.
Yeah. I mean, go figure, right? I mean, I think the Godzilla -1, his atomic breath, is probably the best I've seen in any movie. The way that his fins lit up and then it shot off and then exploded like an atomic bomb when it hit. Perfection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it again tonight. Now after talking about that,
and you have to watch it in Japanese with English subs.
Yeah. I haven't watched it dub. I watch a lot of anime anyway, so a lot of the anime that comes out, used to come out in Japanese only to begin with, and then they dub it later. So I couldn't wait. You know me, I can't wait. I had to watch it, and I just watched it with subtitles. So that's how I watched it the first time anyway. And then when I watched it with the dubbing, it kind of didn't have that same effect.
Look, and it wasn't horrible. It was really good dubbing, but they changed some of the key lines, and they, to fit because it's there's a term for it, like the mouth flap. You've got to match you've got to shorten what they're saying to fit their moving mouths. It can't be monkey magic.
I was just about to say, I'm old enough to have watched Monkey Magic when I was a kid, and the dubbing on that one was just like the English words would be finished and the Japanese mouths would still be going. It's like that was horrible dubbing.
I saw one where someone was laughing while they were eating a sandwich. It's just like, I'm going over here.
No. You have to watch it in the original language with the subtitles. My kids, they love anime. We love the One Punch Man and Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan, and it all has to be in Japanese with the subtitles.
I think you just listed my three favorite animes there. I have to thank our mutual friend Chris for getting me into Demon Slayer. I was a bit like, I watched the first episode when before I met you guys, and I'm like, eh. But then Chris was like, no, give it a couple, like give it a good 5 to 10 episodes because obviously anime they love to, anime and the daytime story shows like Days of Our Lives and stuff. They love to tell a story over 100 episodes. So I gave it a chance, and I'm like, oh wow, that is
it's good.
quality anime.
No, I was the same as you. I almost gave up after the first 5 or 6 episodes. Like, where is this going? And as a kid, and what didn't seem that interesting. And then you're right. Then it kind of just kicks in, and then it just takes off.
Have you seen the movie, the finale, so to speak?
No, we did not. It was playing in the theaters by us. We did not catch that, but I will get it once it comes on streaming. And I'm nervous about One Punch Man. I haven't watched season 3 yet, but I keep seeing the things on YouTube that people are upset about it, and I'm like, God, I hope it's not as bad as some are saying. I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it yet either. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, which, in my opinion, are pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, I don't know how it works over there, but we've got a streaming service called Crunchyroll, which has pretty much all of the anime you could possibly ever want. So, I just managed to I got a 3-month subscription for free from a friend. So I'm actually going through some of the older stuff. Being October, I'm watching a lot of horror anime like Hellsing, Death Note, Attack on Titan, which in my opinion is horror, and I've seen it 100 times, but I just keep watching it. But yeah, like Crunchyroll is like we've got Crunchyroll and we've got Anime Lab. So Anime Lab is the Sony stuff, like Sony owns Anime Lab, and then Crunchyroll you can get through the app or through Prime or whatever that may be. So we've got the 2 streaming services. I honestly prefer Crunchyroll because it's got My Hero Academia, it's got all the horror stuff, it's got Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Naruto, all the old Pokemon stuff as well, which is essentially what got me into anime when I was a kid watching Pokemon. So yeah, I'm on a bit of an anime binge this month as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, since we're talking about things we should be watching and things we do like to watch, let's get to the good question.
Segue.
Segue. The
cool I think my internet has touch wood fixed now because this is the longest I've been online. So I'm not touching anything on my computer. My hands are above board. So yeah.
Now, Russell, are you aware of this monument before us, being an American?
Yeah, I have a little recollection of it. I have not been there in person, but I do recognize it.
I think it needs an update. I think we need to get Trump on there. I think we need to get Biden on there. We may as well get Obama. I'm actually being sarcastic about Trump and Biden, but Obama needs to be on there. We may as well get Kamala Harris on there because we all know she was running it when Joe Biden was having a nap every day. But I think it needs to be updated. I really do. Like, Abraham Lincoln was amazing because he slayed vampires at the same time as he was president. I mean, that was just fantastic. But I must say, Jamie, I actually, on my streaming site, I actually acquired Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I haven't seen it yet. I've got to watch it. It actually popped up because a lot of horror movies are popping up on that site. So I'm actually going to watch it over the next few days, and I'll let you know what I think. Because I've kind of put it off because I really hate like the Downton Abbey, the Pride and Prejudice, the War, like all those kind of era stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when you throw zombies in there and you rave about that movie so much, I think I'm just going to have to give it a go.
And it's got Matt Smith.
And Matt Smith. I mean, everything with Matt Smith in it is absolutely amazing. So that's just another reason to watch it.
There you go. Anyway, back to Russell.
Yes.
So, Russell, basically, we want you to make us a Mount Rushmore of your favorite TV shows or the most iconic ones from any time in history, from any place. It's free range. It's up to you.
I think we should go with your favorite rather than iconic because, like, what is iconic may not be your favorite. Well, I mean, there's a lot of TV shows that I think are iconic, but I never want to see. So I think we go with your favorite.
Favorite.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many to choose from. I mean, I know that I'm not thinking about a billion of them, and I know the first one because I've seen some of your other episodes. So I know the first one is like a no-brainer. Everyone says Breaking Bad. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm the same way. Show's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Enough said. What other superlatives need to be thrown on that show, right? It's just phenomenal. So Breaking Bad. The other three would be Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and Dexter. Now, the last three, those three though, I would say I have a theory of shows when it comes to drama shows. Not talking about comedies or episodic.
Yeah,
you only get about 4 to 6 seasons. You go beyond that window on a drama show, and you're going to start to see the decline. So for me, you know, of course, all three of them, Dexter and Game of Thrones especially, perfection for me, like the first 4 seasons. Seasons 5 and 6, okay.
Kind of declines, yeah.
And then nosedive. But the first 4 seasons are so good. I could throw Sopranos in there as well. That you kind of forgive the later decline.
Yeah.
I agree definitely with The Walking Dead because I fell off around season 6. When Negan first came into it, it kind of like I think Negan came in season 7, or I'm not good. When I heard,
oh, he's cutting out. When he heard Negan's gone.
I mean, probably right. I'm guessing. Like a lot of us, once Negan came in, and you know, spoiler alert, right? I don't want to, but you know, the death of the main character that really just broke the internet, right? The show never recovered.
Yeah, yeah. And even though I loved Negan, I loved his character. But I jumped off when I just felt like I was obligated to watch it because I've been watching it so long. And then it got to when they brought in like the I don't know what they're called, like the Whispers or whatever, the ones that wore the It's just like I was like, that sounds interesting. That sounds really interesting. But then I was just like, It's just like
pretty much the same. I kind of have a theory too about, you know, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, that applies to authors too, which is like, I think authors, showrunners, and fans, you know, a lot of people want to see characters killed off because it gives you that sense of danger. It gives you that, like, you don't ever know what's going to come. So you see fans that want to see characters killed off. You see shows want to do that to be edgy. I kind of have this theory, like you have to be careful, fans have to be careful what they wish for, because an author or a showrunner, there's only a fine line. You can only kill so many characters or kill the wrong character, and you can go from fans loving it to just they're out.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there like a Facebook group or something online about saying like if Daryl dies, we riot?
Yeah,
so it's like.
It's true, you know. People say, "Oh, you know, it's realistic when people die. I like it," and then suddenly, until they kill the character that you like, and then suddenly it's like, "Oh, I'm out of here. I don't like this shit anymore." You know?
Yeah, I mean, at least with like I watched a lot of Stargate growing up, and the times they'd kill someone off and bring them back, you know.
Yeah, that gets bad too, right? You know, you can only do that so many times.
And that was like, and Ryan's not here, so I can talk about it. Supernatural. First 5 seasons, perfection. Loved it to a T. And then it just turned into a different show where it's just like they can die whenever they want. Oh, you died, you came back, you died, you come back, you die, you come back. And it's just like the thing, you know?
And well, that fits my theory, right? That's right in that window, that 4 to 6 season mark of a drama type show.
Yeah.
And by that point, you've done everything you can do. You've had betrayals, you've had people die, you've had exciting events, you've introduced villains that have been defeated, the best ones you can come up with. By the time you get to season 5, 6, 7, 8, you start just rehashing storylines and kind of loses something. Most of them.
Well, that's the thing, because Eric Kripke, who wrote Supernatural, he wrote a 5-season arc, so he sat down and planned it out.
Oh,
and then he left, and they kept going for 10 years, and it's just like there's inconsistencies. There's things that like they changed. I think they changed what hell was. Like, so in season 1 to 5, you've got hell, and then in the other seasons they go to hell, and the hell is completely different, you know. And it's just
it's hard to stick with that when they have those kind of gaping inconsistencies.
Now if you only watch season 1 to 5, or get rid of it and watch 6 to 10. 6 to 10 works as a show by itself. It's decent, but it's just there's no consistencies.
Oh, got it. I have not watched that series, but that's one that's on my radar.
If you watch 1 to 5 and you get to the end of season 5, you'll understand. You'll see it like it's an ending. Like it's.
Oh, got it.
It's an ending. Anyway, let's move on to the next question.
Sure.
Which seems we're talking about zombies. What's your zombie apocalypse plan?
Well, okay, I'm of the era, and it looks like you and I are somewhat in the ballpark of the same kind of era. So I grew up with Dawn of the Dead. Now, there aren't too many malls, or malls are kind of going away, but I don't know if you guys have Costco over there.
Yeah, we do, actually.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking Costco seems like a good place to go. It's got one main entrance. If you defend that, no windows. I am assuming they have a backdoor receiving dock, but that's probably about it. All walled in, as much supplies as you can possibly need. That's going to, depending on the number of people, it's going to stock you for months to years, maybe. Yeah. So I'm thinking Costco. I mean, a lot of people would probably want to go there, but I think I might take my chances at Costco.
Well, and members can get in. Only members can get in. So
yeah, see, the zombies don't have their card. They're stuck. Right?
That'd be the best. Over here, we have there's actually a Facebook page called "If the Zombie Apocalypse Happens, We'll Meet You at Bunnings." Now, Bunnings is like a hardware store kind of place, and everyone goes there because there's chainsaws and axes and tools.
There you go.
And a sausage, a barbecue every Saturday. So.
See, perfect. That sounds like a good spot to me.
Yeah. And ironically, where I live, it's just like everyone wants to come here for the zombie apocalypse, because it's far from anything. You can see the zombies coming.
Yeah, no, the way you described your town, that would be the perfect kind of spot. You're up high, you've got the high ground, and you see them coming.
So, Russell, are you familiar with Bill and Ted?
Yeah, we were just talking about, it's right in my era. I am old enough to have seen it when it first came out.
Yeah, we have a lot of, I don't realize sometimes how young we are, how old we are, because a lot of people don't actually know who Bill and Ted are, and those people should be locked away in an asylum and made to watch those movies. But yeah, so, okay, I'm glad you know who Bill and Ted are. So given that, Bill and Ted rock up outside your house with the phone booth time machine and go, whoa, Rufus has asked us to give you a free ride in our time booth phone machine.
Phone booth time machine.
Phone booth time machine. I always do that. Where are you going?
Well, I thought about the past, but I have so many modern conveniences now, and it seems like a lot of stuff in the past was pretty tough. So I don't think I really want to go in the past. So I guess I'm going to ask him to take me, I don't know, 50, 100 years in the future or something, and see if we survived, or see if it's the Terminator or the Matrix franchise at that point. I want to see where we're at. Because unfortunately, that's what my prediction is it's going to be a combination of Matrix meets Terminator with a little Wall-E thrown in. So if we're not enslaved by the machines, we're all going to be fat blobs plugged into the internet, and all just on our tablets, and the world, all of the environment's gone to shit, and it's
Okay, so you would go 1,500 years into the future, hoping that we're still there and the planet still exists.
No, maybe like 50 or 100 years. 1,500, I don't know. But 50 or 100, Just hope that we're still here.
Because we get a lot of people who say they'll go to the future, but I noticed over the years, as we've done these interviews, the time that they want to go into the future gets shorter and shorter, because I think they don't have much faith in humanity, because I think that they think, okay, first it was 1,000 years, then it was like 500, and then it was, okay, maybe 100, and now we get generally 50 to 100 years, because I don't think we have a lot of faith left in our people.
Yeah, it's looking kind of scary.
Well, you never know. You never know. You know what I mean? Like, history fluctuates, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. You might land right in the bad.
That is true. That is true. But I'll take my chances. We'll try the future. See what happens.
Okay. And best outcome is you can pick up a sports almanac and come back.
Yeah, right. Well, but we know that doesn't turn out too well either. But that depends on what time travel movie you're following, and whether it's going to have branching timelines or you're going to go back. I don't know.
Yeah. 100%. It all depends on who gets that almanac.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for answering the icebreaker questions. It has been fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now we get to do what you're here for, and to talk about you and your writing and your books that are very, 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 very gripping. And let's start at the beginning. What's your author origin story? How did it start for you?
My author origin story goes back to my teen and actually preteen years playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? So I am that old to where I'm pre-first edition, the box set, I think I got the monster manual in probably like 1979 or something. And as a 9-year-old kid, seeing that monster manual, I was probably in like Walden Books that's no longer around or something. And I just saw that and I was like, what is this? That it's a book that has monsters, and what are these statistics? What the hell does this mean? It's some kind of a game? And I just was hooked. Like, I have to figure this out. We can actually fight these creatures. I was just enthralled. So my friends and I truly were in the 80s. We are the Stranger Kids. You see from the show. I mean, we were in that era perfectly. Awesome. We were playing, sitting around my mom and dad's dining room table, drinking Mountain Dew, eating pizza, playing Dungeons and Dragons. So me and my 4 other friends, 5 of us, almost just like the show. And so as I got older, I kept thinking about my main D&D character, who was a barbarian named Grimlock. And then my best friend, his character was a thief named actually Vigilante, off of the character Vigilante that's in Peacemaker now. But again, enough that Vigilante was from the comic book back then. First appeared in Teen Titans and then DC, and he loved that character, so he named his character Vigilante. And so I had my barbarian Grimlock, which I always have to caveat because everybody thinks it's based on the Dinobot. And I love the Dinobot Transformer. He is my favorite Transformer. But no, Grimlock actually comes from the Fiend Folio, published in, I think, 81. And I created the character in 83 because they have monsters called Grimlocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I named him. And then the next year or two, they came out with Transformers. And of course, I loved the Dinobot. But anyway, long story short, those were our characters. And so over the years, I kept thinking, man, I want to write a book about our characters. And it just kept ruminating. And I got older and just life happened till about 2004. Wizards of the Coast had published a campaign setting called Eberron. And that was based on a contest, if I understand correctly. And the winner is the one who had created this setting, and they published his setting. So then they wanted to have another contest to publish. They already had the first book set, but they were going to publish, I believe, the second book in this series. So they had another contest. Hey, write a synopsis, send a 10-page story, first 10 pages of your story, a synopsis, set in this world. And so I sat down and did it and then submitted it and spent months waiting, came back. Now I didn't win, but I made the short list. I was in the top like 3 or 5 or something like that. So I got feedback directly from the editors. So they gave me all the pointers, what they liked about the story, what they didn't like, that I still disagree with to this day, but that's neither here nor there. And so I had this outline. So then as the years, that was 2004. So it took me 20 years till I published Relentless Blades. But all those years, I would have my friend talking to me, my wife, other friends. Why don't you just write this? I mean, you have this whole synopsis. You have this outline. Why are you not just writing that book? And I just kept explaining to everyone, well, I can't, because everything in it, or most of it, is copyrighted by Wizards of the Coast. I had set it all in the Eberron campaign setting, used people, NPCs from the setting, monsters from the setting. I'm like, I would have to create my own world. which at the time I was too lazy to do until about, I was like, I wasn't up to the task of world building until about, but I would start and stop. I would write a chapter here and there over the years and then give up until for some reason in 2022. And if you were to pin me down, I could not tell you what stuck, but I sat down one day in September and I wrote a chapter. And then I looked at it and said, I don't know where I'm going because I don't know the world. And for some reason, something clicked. And then I spent the next month writing like a 40 or 50 page like treatise outline. I called it my world Bible of this entire history of the world and how it was formed and the major kingdoms and all that good stuff. And then started writing the first book, Relentless Blades. And I had it done in first draft about 4 months. So like February of the next year, 2023, I had it written, and then of course did all the rewrites. And then I spent a good almost year querying, never got anywhere. And so I self-published in October of 2024.
That's awesome. I'm currently writing my first stab at fantasy, and it's based on me and Ryan's D&D campaign because our DM is so good, but me and him basically created the world, and awesome. He's expanded on it, and it is so cool. World building is so fun. I've always wanted to write fantasy, but I've never been able to do it until now.
Your world that you guys know, I mean, it's perfect. You've lived it, you played it, you know it, and it's great that you have two of you that you can bounce the ideas off each other.
And the good thing about our DM is we never really we've been playing for years, probably about, I think that's essentially one of the reasons why we all started becoming friends is Jamie's group had one of their friends when I moved overseas that they played D&D with, and they're like, I said, well, I play D&D. I haven't played in like a few years, but I play. And then we started playing and just went from there. That was like 10, 11 years ago. But the good thing about our DM is we quickly stopped using the D&D characters and the whole, the campaigns and stuff like that. We use a system called Fusion, which is more of a, like attack, parry, that kind of thing. Like you can, he rolls a certain number. He says you need to beat this number. If we beat it, then the attack doesn't go through and stuff like that. But it means Jamie can write the story pretty much based on the campaign because we don't have any copyrighted material because Chris, our DM, created all the campaigns we're playing, and Jamie and Chris created this world. And me being now I've been upgraded to an alpha reader because I read it chapter by chapter. Jamie will send me through, and it's good because I know this world. I've played this world for 10 years, so it's probably one of the best times to have me as an alpha reader because I can go, oh yeah, I remember this, or this doesn't make sense, or whatever that may be. But it is just, I find one of my favorite fantasy authors of all times is a guy called David Eddings. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Russell.
I am. I have not read his work, but I've heard it. Yeah.
I have read his work from, my grandmother actually got me into reading David Eddings. She had all of his books, and she would let me, when I'd go over and stay at her house, she would let me borrow one. And anyway, I've read his books multiple times over. And Jamie writing fantasy is actually his style is very, very like David Eddings. And I guess that's another reason why I love it. But I find that if you have played D&D for a very, very long time, I think you're a better fantasy writer because you live in that world for so often. I mean, with us, we get together once a month and like physically in the same room and play for like a solid 8 to 9 hours, like nonstop. My wife will literally be in our bedroom, which she has no issue with, but she's in the bedroom watching her stuff on her tablet while we're out in the lounge room out at my house, and we play for we play for a solid 8 or 9 hour session. And I think it's because we've lived in that world for so long, and it's probably the same with you, Russell, that it just seems once you've got that world there, the stories probably just seem to flow a lot better than any other genre. I don't know. Well, Jamie has written multiple genres, so I don't know if that's true. But do you guys find that it's easier to write fantasy because you have been playing D&D for so long?
Well, for me, my lament is I don't currently play. I did play a
Okay.
couple of years ago for about a year when 5e came out. But I
Hmm.
don't really have a group right now. So I kind of lament that. So my setting is kind of just mostly all in my head. I will say it's easier in the sense that, at least for the two main characters, Grim and Vidge, um, that I know those characters because me and my friend have been talking about them for 40 years. Now, the setting itself was more something that I had to come up with to change things around. So it's nothing in this campaign or nothing in these books was anything that we actually role played, nor the
Oh, okay.
setting itself.
Okay. I
So
get
yeah,
you.
it's all brand new. I had to come up with all the creatures and monsters in the world and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the characters, the essence of the characters are the same. They aren't the same exact characters either, but I tried to adhere to their roots. So Grim in this book, Relentless Blades, is what I call a Scrawn. That's my race, which is kind of like an orc crossed with a Klingon in a way.
Okay.
And then Vidge is a human, but because in our game sessions, Grim was a ranger barbarian, he is basically a ranger barbarian in Relentless Blades, and then Vidge was a thief. So I was like, I had to think, okay, well, so he had that was set in stone in my mind. Those were two things that were set in stone: the character names, because that's what they were. So they're set in stone. I changed Vidge to Vigilantin because I thought Vigilante would be a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's shortened to Vidge most of the time anyway. But those were the two things set in stone: the character names, and then their backgrounds being true to what they were as classes, like in Dungeons and Dragons. So Vidge had to be a thief, so he kind of starts out as a little bit of a shaky character if you've read the book. He's not exactly a straight arrow, right? But that was because I had to adhere to his origins.
Okay. Awesome. But I have fallen out of fantasy reading aside from David Eddings for a while, and I'm stuck because I've just been reading nothing but horror, and I'm starting to get back into it, I suppose, because just a backstory. I was in hospital last year from June through till March of this year, so for about 10 months. So I didn't get to play D&D with these guys for that long. So I guess we've been playing since April again this year, every month, and that is slowly also getting me back into fantasy, but also reading Jamie's book. His last one, the short novella, was fantasy as well, set in that same world. So that was cool to read. And then to read this one, which is essentially more based on our campaign, I have little moments where I'm like, I know you, I know you, I know who you are, I know what those are, I know that.
Yeah.
He has a character in the latest chapter who is essentially what's called a silver sword, and they're like, essentially, to me, they're like paladins in D&D. They're righteous. They have they don't have the ability to go, you're evil, so I'm going to kill you, because they can't define something as evil. But if something is evil, then they can essentially smite them down. And they have 10 tenets, which are like, different rules that they have to follow. And in the later chapter, Jamie puts the 10 tenets, and I'm like, I don't need to read that. I know that. I know that because we just played a session the other day where we dealt with all the tenets. And it's kind of cool having that insider information, kind of being like, I'm going to know a lot more about this world than everyone else who reads it, because I know Chris is not going to read it because he doesn't read much. And I don't think Mike can read. So no, I'm joking. Mike can read, but yeah, I'm really the only one that reads Jamie's stuff. Like, I've read all his books. a few of them before they came out, like to help with arc reading and stuff like that. But it's really getting me back into fantasy, and it's making me want to go back and read my David Edding books for probably like the 50th time. So I love the idea of D&D and fantasy being combined into a book. That just makes me, it's like a given for me to buy that book, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. I grew up reading, so I grew up reading Margaret Rice and Tracy Hickman,
Nice.
and all the R.A. Salvatore, the Drist books. He's kind of who if I was going to pick an author, he's one I've patterned my writing style after. So, of course, Lord of the Rings is a given, although I haven't read that in many years. But those would be, the ones who really kind of shaped me, where, like the Dragonlance, the Salvatores, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I kind of feel like if you're a fantasy reader, Lord of the Rings is pretty much a given. You had read it when you were younger, or you read it. I was lucky enough, our English teachers were so awesome. It was like one of the few subjects I loved. They had Lord of the Rings in the curriculum. So we had to read all 3 books over our year 11 and year 12. So our final years before university or college, we had to read them in class. And that was, I'd already read them, but it was just awesome. Amazing. I never forget our English teachers for that. Like, they were so awesome. But I think Lord of the Rings is kind of a given. I think every fantasy author you speak to probably has read Lord of the Rings. I feel like it's kind of a given now that you have to have read Lord of the Rings if you want to write fantasy, because Tolkien is just like, there's something about those books that I can read it today and it still feels relevant, even though it was written almost over 100 years ago now, or I'm not sure, but like close to 100 years, right?
Didn't he publish them in the 70s?
Oh, really? Oh, my bad.
I think.
I thought you're probably right.
Early 70s?
He may have written them 100 years ago, because I think he was doing them in the war. He was writing them in the war. Or he was
that's what I thought. I heard that.
Yeah,
I just assumed.
One, or was it World War II?
I think
it was World War One.
Maybe it was World War One.
And I just made me assume that maybe it was published in like the 1915 or 19 something like that. But yeah, wow, the 70s. Oh, that's still like almost 50 years ago, over 50 years ago.
It might have been before that. Gosh, now
J.R.R. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings between 1937 and 1949.
There you go.
So when did he publish it?
It was not published until 1954 and 1955.
Okay, 54, 55. Okay. So yeah, it is. It's 75 years.
75 years, yeah, wow.
Because they did, I swear there was a show, maybe it was, what was that CW show with, the time travel show, Legends or something?
DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, there's an episode where they go back in time and they talk to Tolkien. He's in the war.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
And I remember
you're right, though. That's kind of a given.
Yeah.
I remember a really, really bad movie that came out. I think I can't remember if it was animated. I'm pretty sure it came out, I think, in the 70s.
Not the Lord of the
Rings. Because I remember, the Lord of the Rings animated. Not the current one, the really bad one.
Yeah.
Ralph Bashki. Yeah. I love that movie, though. But that was my time.
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's a good movie for the time when it came out, for sure. But, now with all the technology, like I recently, I watched it when it came out in the cinemas, but I recently rewatched the Lord of the Rings, or War of the Rohirrim, or however you say it. And that animation is just, amazing. I absolutely love that. And it's a story that hasn't really been told in that excess in the movies. Like, it's good that they're not doing, as you say, you don't like the Disney Star Wars, and I'm on board with you there, but they didn't do the Disney thing with Lord of the Rings. They didn't just go, let's make 100 movies on different parts of the, they just did one animated movie. and a really bad TV show that we don't really talk about too much. That was kind of a prequel, but I mean that could have been so good. They had like $5 million an episode or something. I think our friend Chris told us they had budgets of like $5 million per episode, like $45 million per season. The Amazon money truck, and it was just. I watched the first season, and it was just very, very disappointing, in my opinion, as a Lord of the Rings fan.
It's
Did
trash.
you see that? Yeah, you didn't. Okay, cool.
It's trash. I watched the first season like you. It was complete trash. I haven't bothered to watch since, and I won't.
No, and I kind of feel like Wheel of Time did that as well. I feel like the first season was really pretty good, but then the second season, I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, I don't want to see this.
No, and what's the common denominator? I think we would all say between
Amazon,
The Witcher, The Wheel of Time, The Rings of Power. The common denominators, they don't follow the source material, and in fact, they actively have showrunners and writers who either don't know the lore or the history or actively disregard it and don't like it, and they treat it disdainfully, and it's painfully obvious when you watch it as a fan. They're not making these for fans. I could go on forever, but we don't have that much time.
I can tell that is really you talking about Disney Star Wars, as well as fantasy. Because when you were saying writers that just don't care, Ryan Johnson just came into my head. I'm just like, I will admit, and I've said this before, The Last Jedi is the only Star Wars movie out of all 9 that I have not finished. And I will not finish. I get to the same part every time. It's like 45 minutes in, and I'm like, I'm just not watching this. And the fact that Luke Skywalker just he just throws the lightsaber over his shoulder and just disregards everything. It's just like, it's just.
Smart man. I watched it one time, and I will never watch it again.
Well,
Do you want to hear our torture story, Russell?
Yeah.
Sure. Our friend Chris is a Star Wars tragic. When Force Awakens came out, he bought like a week's worth of tickets, and we went midnight screening. We went the next day. And it was just like we saw it like 4 times in a row, like maybe even twice on the same day, because he's just like Star Wars. And then he did the same thing with The Last Jedi. And we had to watch it like 2 or 3 times. And with each time, you could see his heart getting crushed. But you paid for the tickets.
Force Awakens was, to me, it was okay.
It was
promising. It gave me it gave me a little bit of hope. I'm like, okay, because there was a lot of, I was really worried. And I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars, but I'm not a super fan like our friend Chris was. And I was really worried. I went with my wife and some friends on opening day to see it, wearing my Star Wars shirt and everything, excited. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I was excited for what they were going to do. And then I didn't see Last Jedi at the cinema because I wasn't friends with Jamie and Chris then. Because before then, we just went to see all of them together. But I didn't see The Last Jedi at the cinemas, and then I thought I'll wait till it comes out on streaming. And I think in between that time, I started hanging out with Jamie and Chris and Mike, and they were like, "Don't even bother watching it." And then I watched the last one, Rise of the Skywalkers, I think it's called. And that one was, again, it was okay. I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of really liked the redemption of Ben Solo in that movie, like him going from, Kylo Ren back. And that scene with him and Rey at the end, fighting back to back. I thought that was pretty good. But it wasn't, none of those movies were anywhere close to what the originals were. And I'm one of the few people, and I don't know, and I apologize if this offends you, Russell, but I actually like the prequels. I really like in my opinion, Revenge of the Sith, the third one, is a freaking phenomenal movie. And I liked it. I'm one of those people who like finding out how things came to play, like the origin of Obi-Wan, the origin of Anakin, and to see Anakin turn. That's what I want to know. I wanted to know how Anakin became Darth Vader, and I got that story, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, other than that,
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I can't forgive the character assassination of Luke Skywalker, and I won't hear anybody's argument. The people who try to defend Rian Johnson and oh, he subverted expectations, and you have to understand Luke, what he went through. No, I just won't hear it. No, it was a character that's not Luke Skywalker. It's like Mark Hamill said in his one interview or whatever. That's Jake Skywalker. That's not Luke. That's not what he would have turned out. I was in line at 7 years old, wrapping around the theaters waiting for Star Wars. I waited 30 years to see The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And anyone in my generation, we knew Luke was going to be the hero, like he is in the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
That is Luke Skywalker. That's what we knew we were waiting 20, 25 years or whatever to see. That ain't Luke, and it never will be. You'll never convince me that. I won't hear any arguments for it. No, just don't even talk to me about it.
Seeing that that season finale of The Mandalorian and seeing Luke Skywalker, just seeing that hand and then seeing the green lightsaber, I cried. I'm man enough to admit, I think I posted on Facebook after I watched it. I said, "You want to know how to make a 40 or 39-year-old man cry? That season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, that is how you do Star Wars." And I watched that episode so many times, and that was amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, this isn't the Star Wars podcast.
No, I know.
We're here to get Ryan to read some fantasy, so I've got a few recommendations.
I'm already on board.
I've got a few recommendations for you, Ryan. I'll bring them up now. Oh, look at that. You should check out these books, Ryan.
Hey, those look familiar. I definitely think you should check them out. Relentless Blades is out now, of course. Then Ashbound Oaths comes out November 18th. Super excited. I'm
buying them now anyway. So.
One thing I'll say I love about the covers is, they've totally fit my vision. These are exactly what I wanted. These were captured the essence, like I said, of the books that I loved in the 80s and 90s, those kind of fantasy. And what you see on these covers is what you're going to get. Both of these covers are scenes directly from the book. There's no bait and switch. What you see represented, you're going to get in spades. They're action-packed thrill rides from... Now, Relentless Blades starts a little slow because I'm setting it up and building the characters, but once it gets going, and Ashbound Oaths, they're just rocket thrill rides.
Well, you can definitely see the escalation from book 1 to book 2, like just on the cover,
I'm going to say that. It's like they say in role-playing games. It's like, JRPGs are my favorite type of games. It's like mission 1, save a kitten. End game. Fight God, and that's what I'm looking at. Like book 1 is like, okay, these are 2 guys that are, they're going to take on some bandits, maybe some orcs and stuff like that, and then you look at book 2, and it's just like it's essentially Satan.
No, they don't. I don't. These are kind of origin stories, but no, I don't start off. And I have read a couple of fantasy books that are like that, where they literally, it is like they followed an RPG, and they literally have the character starting off saving a pig from a farm, or the little band. No. These guys are right off the bat. You're fighting some heavy hitters, and I make sure that I'm a very big believer that the hero is measured against the villain. If you don't have a strong villain, the hero's not going to shine. So right from the get-go, the villains are terrifying in this, even in Relentless Blades. They're powerful, threatening, menacing. You will believe that they may be victorious.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool. You want to?
So you were saying the sequel comes out on the 18th of November. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, I just bought the first one there. I wasn't being rude and being on my phone. I actually bought the book.
Well, thank you.
But no. I was going to do it. Normally, I would have done it if I was on my computer, because I immediately, log on to Amazon, bring your books up, and then by at least halfway through the episode, I've bought it. So, but yeah, I mean, look, it's fantasy, it's D&D. Well, not officially D&D, but it's like based on a D&D campaign. It's exactly what I want from a book. So I definitely bought that one, and I will pick up the sequel when it comes out in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm always very careful. I always say inspired by, because I don't want I don't want them coming after me with some copyright infringement. It's inspired by, but it is not Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons.
Now, question about the sequel: are the same characters from the first one in the sequel?
They are. So Relentless Blades tells the story of, as on the cover, Vidge and Grimm, and they start off not the best of friends, and certainly neither one of them looking to be heroes. It's a pretty gritty world. I don't like to say grim dark, and I'll be honest, I don't totally understand all of the multitude of subgenres in fantasy. I'm old school, so fantasy was fantasy, but it is gritty, it is dark, but it's not hopeless, which is kind of the way I understand grimdark to be. So I wouldn't say it's like hopeless. These guys are, you always have a sense of hope, and it's them, and then this mysterious scepter called the Scepter of Seamathu is discovered in this frontier town, and it's wanted by multitudes of people. The Valadian Knights on one side, and then you find the Vroggoths. They're my demonic creatures, of which that is one of them on the cover of Ashbound Oaths, one of the Vroggoths called Rorgast, who is a villain in the first book. And they're looking for this scepter because they have this prophecy that says that this scepter can awaken dragon eggs, and if they get control of these dragons, well, it'll tip the balance of power and they can rule the world. So it's kind of the tale of how Vidge and Grimm get caught up in this, something they weren't looking for, and then their adventure to try to stop the Vroggoths. And along the way, they end up in an arena fighting as gladiators. So there's all sorts of combat, a lot of cool magic. It was very much inspired by, I guess you'd say, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, smashing with Gladiator, a little bit of Lethal Weapon, buddy cop dynamic, all in a fantasy setting blender.
Awesome. No, that sounds and looks, and I love the design of Grimm. Whenever we play D&D, I'm generally the powerhouse. So I'm the barbarian, or I'm in the current campaign we've got. I'm a great sword wielder, so I'm like a two-handed. I'm these Jamie and Mike. They're fencers kind of things. Like they'll go in and do the little cuts here and there, and then I'll come in with like my super attack that does, 100 D10, 100 D6 damage or whatever. Not 100 D6, but like 15 or 20 D6 damage to kind of finish it off. So I love the look of Grimlock. I love the Mohawk, kind of orc character. And then when you look at Vidge, you can immediately tell, he's a thief. He's more of a speed, get in there and attack quickly. Whereas Grimlock's kind of like the powerhouse of the two. And I love the covers to these books. They're absolutely amazing. Did you design them yourself, or did you outsource it? Did you hire someone to do those covers?
I actually outsourced them through Fiverr, which some people have had bad luck with Fiverr. I've had phenomenal luck with the two covers, but and I've had some of you've mentioned my dog walking videos. I've had some where I talk about my recommendations for people looking for covers. it's all about you, first of all, having a strong sense of your visual style, what you want.
Yeah.
So for me, I was locked in. Like I said, you go back and look at any of the D&D covers, the Dragonlance, Larry Elmore, Keith Packinson, Jeff Easley, like all those guys from the 80s and 90s, the godfathers of like these fantasy covers, even people like Frank Franzetta, and you look at them. So I already knew that was in my mind, set in stone. That's the kind of look, the aesthetic that I wanted. So for me to go to Fiverr, it was a matter of just finding people who had portfolios that demonstrated that they could do the kind of art style that I already had in my mind. And so both of these covers, though, are my complete design. Like I literally got in a crouch like Vigilantin is on the first of Relentless Blades and sent that to the artist. Like, I want him looking like this. I want them both on the cover. Grimlock, I gave him the passage from the book that like describes Grimlock. And I'm like, this is what I want exactly. Same with the cover of Ashbound Oaths. A matter of fact, I had my daughter draw like a little mock-up of like, okay, here's the Farashar here, and here's Rorgast here, and I want her coming up towards him, and he's got the forearms, and I gave him description to a T of exactly what I wanted. So there was no miscommunication. The artist knew exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. No, I being a massive comic book fan as well, I really, really love it when we, like Jamie brought this concept in where we actually bring the covers up and we talk about it because, I've been reading comics since I was 8 or 9 years old, and I still read them every day. Every night I read, 4 or 5. And I really, really like the art on this. I think the artist that you got to do, was it the same artist to do both?
No, it actually wasn't.
Wow,
I loved the artist on Relentless Blades, but when I contacted him, he was kind of busy and it took a while for him to get back to me. So in the meantime, I was like, I want to get this book out this year. So I went and searched and I found another guy who I think did, it's like judging your children, but I may even like Ashbound Oaths cover a little better, although Grim and Vidge are my sentimental favorites, but they're both great. I mean, I was super happy with both.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I thought it would be the same artist.
Yeah, I mean, that comes back to because I knew my style. And believe me, that's what I would tell anyone. If you're looking for cover artists, at least for me, they had to have a demonstrated portfolio of work that was similar to what I wanted. And then I had a ton of people who would email me, text me. I got bombarded like, hey, I'm an artist. And I was like, okay, well, show me your portfolio. And they'd send it over. Some was bad. Some were good, but it would be like, maybe it was like anime style, or maybe it was, and I'd just be like, no, that's you're good, but that's not what I'm looking for. And then they would try to tell me, oh, but I'm sure I can do what you want. No, not if I don't see the demonstrated portfolio that lets me know you have already done it. I'm sorry, I just can't take your word for it. So, no.
I used Fiverr for my first book, my Emu War book, and I got a whole lot of different art commissioned through Fiverr, and I'd always just go to the to whoever the artist was and see if they had a website, see if they were like more legit, and it's just Fiverr's good, but you got to know how to avoid the less
exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. But
no, you have to do your due diligence. You're hiring someone, you've got to check them out, check their ratings, check their communication, make sure they can do the style you want. I mean, you have to do your due diligence. You can't just grab anybody. I've heard a lot of horror stories, I'm sure you have too, of the authors who go through cover artists because they can't get what they want, and I know a lot of our fellow authors let the artist create whatever cover they want. Like they'll just tell them a little bit about the book, or they'll ask the artist to read the book and come up with a cover. I'm not going to disparage how anybody wants to do something, but there's no way I would do that. The cover has to be exactly what I want. I'm not going to leave that interpretation up to the artist to do whatever they want. Now, I'll let them do little minor things. Like I didn't go to the nitpicky level. I didn't tell them exactly what Rorgast, the demon on the right, has to be wearing, or exactly the armor style that Grimm has. That's fine. They can do the minor stuff. But when it comes to the actual vision, the characters, that's all me. I'm not going to leave that up to an artist.
Yeah. That's it. No, I got a really good artist that I found through, because I was with a hybrid publisher for about a year. And they ended up being really dodgy, and then they went bankrupt because they were dodgy. But they had really good artists, and I went and found an artist that they used, and I was just like, wow, they're really cheap. No wonder my publisher went with them. But they're really good, and they're really cheap, and now I use them for nearly everything I do. And it's just good to have an artist that you can trust,
Yeah, no doubt, exactly. And both of these artists, actually, both of them, I have recommended to other fellow indie authors, and both these artists have worked on books for other indie artists, kind of in this. If you're on, you're on X, the Fellowship of the Indie Author, kind of a group. A couple of the other authors have used both these guys based on my recommendation, and as far as I understand, they've been super happy with them.
Yeah. Do you want to give them a shout out now? If who are they?
Relentless Blades, his name was Kaleem Ulab, I believe, and I would have to get you the link to his Fiverr account. And then the other one, Ashbound Oath, is Jesh Art Studios, both through Fiverr. Oh, cool. And I could shoot you a link when you post the video,
Well, yeah, because no, they're really good. They're really good. They scream fantasy, and that's what I love.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the big thing for me, right? And I, in the indie author sphere, right? We don't all have the most budget amount of money that we can spend on anything we want. So I understand sometimes you have to go with a lesser cover or whatever. But for me, the cover, I want a cover that's going to convey a sense of the story. That's what resonates with me as a reader. I want to connect with the cover. So I wanted a cover that tells a story. So you look at it and you know exactly what you're going to get. There's no bait and switch. There's no wondering, what is this about? I kind of don't really get it. No, you look at these covers, you know exactly what you're going to
get. Yeah, that's it.
100%. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I can tell, if I walked into a bookshop and picked up Relentless Blades, I can tell that I'm going to get a really good fantasy story between, an orcish character and a, thief. And that's exactly what you want to find out.
And that's not because it's in the fantasy section.
Yes, that's not because it's in the fantasy section.
You can walk past, if you go there and put it in the sci-fi section, someone will pick it up and go, this doesn't belong in the sci-fi section.
Exactly, yeah.
So, what are you working on now, Russell?
I am working on the, hopefully, trilogy finale right now. I'm about 50,000 words in right now. I say hopefully finale because both of these books are very similar in size. I think Relentless Blades is 116,000 words and Ashbound Oaths is 118,000. So it's like 450 pages and 465 pages, I think. Yeah. This next book, trying to wrap it up, I'm 50,000 words in, and I feel like I'm only about a quarter of the way through it. So I have to keep going, and I may cut it, and there may be not a trilogy, but what would you call it?
Quadrilogy?
Quadrilogy, yeah, there would be maybe, which is why I called the series The Prophecies of Zaroon, and I just label them volume 1, 2. I don't say like trilogy, because in case I can't wrap this up, because I really don't want to put out a 600-page book or something. So if it starts creeping into that 500+ page mark, I may cut it.
Yeah. Would you cut it off, or would you just split it into 2 books?
Yeah, I would split it.
Yeah.
I would split it at some point and cut it. So it kind of depends on where we go. I mean, I know where it's ending, but it's how much of the in between it's gonna take to get there.
Yeah, it's that feeling you get. Like I'm 8,000 words into my fantasy, and I'm already feeling it's gonna clear 100,000 words. I just,
Oh yeah.
you know, albeit it's following two characters. So it's like two books, essentially.
Yeah, it's a fantasy, but they allow for that, right? The average fantasy is more like that 100,000+.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's hard to build a world, introduce your characters, get the conflict in 90,000 words or 80,000 words.
Now, having written two fantasy books yourself, and me just starting mine, I'm interested to know, like, do you struggle to not over explain things? Because like it's not just me.
Yeah, no, it's I think all fantasy authors. I won't speak for everybody, but God, it is that, like, how much. I always say this, and I post, and I've talked about this in some of my videos too. Like, how much description is too much description? How much is not enough? And you hear conflicting. I'm sure you're the same way. You've heard it. You've thought about it. Like, okay, well, there's one school of thought that says the reader's mind, their imagination is better than anything you can put on there. So you can kind of just give them the minimum. You can say the great red dragon burst out and confronted the heroes. And people know what a dragon looks like if they can fill it in. But then you get the other set of readers who say, no, I want the full description. Is this a two-legged dragon or a four-legged? I want to know, does it have horns? How many? I want to know how big it is, blah, blah. So then you're caught between how much description is enough and how much is too much.
Yeah.
I personally, as a fantasy reader, I personally prefer to let my imagination do it, to do the work. Like, for example, in Jamie, because I only really have Jamie's book to reference, but there's a race of people, and I know from our D&D campaign, called the Silidar. Now, they're essentially dragon folk. So, I know the way that Chris describes it, and I know the way that Jamie describes it. But, essentially, there's a scene in the first chapter, and I hope I'm allowed to say this, but it's literally the first page, where, this Silidar has an amulet that he puts on that makes him look human. And there's these two little kids who are doing what little kids do and peek in through his window, and they see him in his dragon form, and they see him put the amulet on, and he transforms into human. And I just stopped reading, and I let my imagination define what he looked like as a dragon. And then as he was transforming, when he put the amulet on, it just sort of, his tail getting shorter, and his scales turning into flesh. And I let my imagination fill that in. And like several scenes in the first part, which is the Silidar character, are pretty intense. And I let my imagination create those scenes in my head rather than have them over-described in the book. But you are right. There are two kinds of fantasy readers. There's people like me use their imagination, and then there's other people who are like, they need everything described in complete detail. And I think that's why fantasy novels are, as you say, like, I haven't read a fantasy novel that's under 400 pages, 450 pages. And that's what I've grown to expect from a fantasy novel. So if I sit down and I said, okay, I'm going to read this fantasy novel, I expect it to be much longer than the horror or the sci-fi book that I'm reading, because I have that expectation. Even David Eddings, he wrote, my favorite of his work is a 6-part series called The Belgariad, and those are his smaller books. And even then, those books are 512 pages each. And that's his smaller work. Like, he has a prequel to that whole thing, which is, I think it's Stephen King level, like 1,000, maybe 900 to 1,000 pages. And but you know what? I can read that. It'll take me longer, but I don't care, because it's fantasy, and I'm expecting it to be long, because I like being in that world.
Yeah, I think as the authors, you just kind of have to wing it, and it goes by feel, and you kind of just have to think about. I mean, for me, so I thought, okay, nobody knows what a scrawn is. This is my creation. You can look at the cover and see Grimlock, but I felt like the first introduction of him, I felt like I needed to give a decent amount of description so that people okay, you say scrawn, what is this? Now when you read Relentless Blades, there are the Vrogoths. They are the big bads. They're the demon type creatures. So I had a tough time because I had to explain there are subspecies of Vrogoths. There are 3 that you encounter in the book. There are Molgroths, Gelganoths, and Osgroths. And so I felt like I needed to try to explain, because early beta readers, they got a little confused, like, well, what's a Vrogoth and what's an Osgroth? Well, Osgroth, it's like Vrogoth is like what we would call apes, for example. And so then you would have Gelganoth, Osgroth, Molgroth are like chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, like how we would say that. So they are all one species, but they're like subvariants or subspecies within it. But I felt like I had to get a little more descriptive and really try to describe each one of them so that a reader could hopefully understand when I say Osgroth or I say Gelganoth, that they are still all Vrogoths, right? But hopefully I did my job and it didn't confuse too many people.
Well, I mean, as I said, each fantasy reader, like I myself, can appreciate that, because, as I said, reading Jamie's book, I know what these races are already. So it doesn't bother me if there's not a great explanation. But, you might read Jamie's book and go, I have no idea what these characters are, what's a Silidar, what's a Silver Sword, what's all these different races. And, that's when more explanation is required. So when reading your book, I completely respect that you have to describe this, because I've never heard of these creatures or these species before. So I want the detail in that retrospect. But in saying that, there are some fantasy authors who will literally describe how long each toe is and how long each finger is on each creature that they create. And that's where you get into the big books. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it feels like they're just trying to get a certain amount of words in the book. And that's when I don't really resonate with those authors.
Yeah, my thought is I want to try to give the detail where I feel it's needed. So like I gave those examples, something if it's a creature that nobody's ever heard of because I created it. But I mean, to quote what someone like George R. Martin or whatever, I don't need to have a 2-page description of the feast that everybody's eaten. You don't need to know the temperature the duck was cooked at or, whatever, right? I mean, I feel like I can just say the grand feast was set before the group. Like I don't need to, so it's just a pick and choose what you describe.
It's definitely George R. R. Martin comes to mind, and I apologize if I get this wrong. My memory is not great, but is it Robert Jordan that wrote Wheel of Time?
Yeah.
He definitely likes to over explain things as well, or he did. And I guess that's just why his books are huge, and that's why George R. Martin's books are just huge, because he likes to over explain. And when I read the first Game of Thrones book, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it, but I love the show. So for me, if I want Game of Thrones, I'm going to watch the show rather than read the book because of his explanation style, because I prefer to let my imagination do the work. So, and that's okay. Like, I don't have to like every single fantasy writer out there, you know what I mean? But, there's people like my wife who she has really bad ADHD, so she hyper-focuses and she needs that information. Like, she needs to know everything about the book she's reading. So for someone like her, she loves reading George R. R. Martin's Game of Thrones book because they are over descriptive. So you're going to get those two different kinds of readers, and some authors cater for one, some cater for the other, and that's okay.
Yep.
So you ready for a game, Russell?
I'll try.
Now, have you seen our story pitch game? Have you heard of our story pitch game?
I read it. I heard it. I'm not sure, so we'll see.
Well, it's turned out to be a real hoot. So I'll bring up the graph. This is the updated graph. I took away something, Ryan. I'll see if you see the notice.
Okay.
I honestly don't really pay attention to the graph except for the numbers that our guests say. So I apologize.
It's the image on the screen. I changed it. It usually said optional edition, but now it says crazy edition because everybody chooses it.
The one that I have says optional edition.
Oh, that's fine. No, I'm looking on the screen, Ryan. The one I bring up.
Oh, on the screen. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I apologize to any of our viewers and to Russell. If it looks like I'm scrolling, it's because I'm recording on my tablet. So I need to scroll up and down to find the graph. So
the graph, yeah. So
yeah.
the game is called Story Pitch. You basically got to give us a number between 1 and 12 for each of these categories. We'll give you what they are on the graph that we have. And the number will correlate to something that we have on the graph, and we'll give you the parameters, and you've got to pitch us a story, essentially.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there's 2 rounds as well. So this is the first round. So if you want for the second round, you can use the same numbers or you can use completely different numbers. It's totally up to you.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it easy. Well, we're going to count backwards. So we'll go 12 setting, 11 genre, 10 main character, 9 crazy edition.
Okay.
Oh my God. This is going to be a great story, Russell. I can tell right now.
All right. Okay. So for setting, it's a submarine.
Mm-hmm.
A submarine. Okay.
Yeah. And the genre is something I'm going to say you would be familiar with in your real life because you are married, but maybe not in writing. But the setting of the genre is romance.
Okay.
So romanced on a submarine. Oh wait, it gets better.
Oh God.
Your main character is a dance instructor.
So you've got romance on a submarine with a main character profession, a dance instructor, and your crazy addition, which is something or someone that must appear in this story. And number 9 is the amazing, the super attractive, the best Superman in the history of Superman, Henry Cavill.
So is this Henry Cavill himself or?
Yes. Yeah, Henry Cavill himself. So it's not Henry Cavill playing
a dance
instructor, but you can have Henry Cavill as the dance instructor because that is what, that it might be a secret skill that he has.
Well, I think he learnt dancing for The Witcher because he learnt the sword fight.
He did, yes.
Honestly, when you were talking about The Witcher before, I really liked the first 3 seasons with Henry Cavill, but season 4 just dropped yesterday or the day before, and I tried to watch it with Liam Hemsworth, and it's nothing to do with Liam Hemsworth, but I thought they were going to maybe have another of the male Witcher cast members, but they've just put him in as Geralt, and I got 20 minutes into the episode and I had to turn it off. I just can't. So that's my review of The Witcher.
Anyway. All right, Russell. Pitch us a story.
Okay. It's set in present day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Donald Trump is a big fan of Henry Cavill and what he stands for, his Warhammer obsession, his playing Superman. He wants to project, Superman as signal of America, right? Truth, justice in the American way. So he orders his generals to have Henry Cavill come and give a speech at the Naval Institute, and they're christening the newest nuclear submarine, and so they have Henry Cavill aboard the sub to talk about his experiences, Superman, and rah the troops when they get a distress call and they have to launch out of port with their submarine with Henry Cavill aboard. Now, as he goes out, the captain of the ship is the very beautiful, alluring captain, and there's instant sparks flying between the two of them. Little do they know that she used to be a dance instructor or a dancer of questionable background. Before she enlisted, before she enlisted in the military, and the submarine goes out to find a rescue mission where they encounter the enemy fleet, and all kinds of hijinks ensues until at the end Henry Cavill and the woman, the captain, who was a former dancer, fall in love and save the day.
There you go. Perfect.
And you couldn't even give her a name. Wow.
Oh gosh.
I'm only joking.
Lola.
Lola, yeah, Lola.
She was a showgirl.
Maybe, the it girl. Maybe I'd name her Sydney Sweeney, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I could look. Romance is really not my style, but I would definitely look into buying that book.
Hey, well, maybe after I finish this, I'll have to switch genres.
That's what we're all about. We like to give writers their next ideas.
Yeah, I like this. Switch the genres up.
Okay, for round 2, I just want to give you a little advice or hint, maybe. The numbers get harder the higher they are.
Okay, well, I kind of was thinking of doing this anyway, but that works out. So I'm going to go, since we did 12, 11, 10, 9, I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay, so your setting, we get this a lot and I love it, a community radio station.
And your genre is cyberpunk.
Your main character is a janitor.
And your crazy addition, which is someone or something that must appear in the story, is Sam and Dean Winchester from the Supernatural series.
Oh, I haven't watched that series. That's a tough one.
They're basically they're demon hunting brothers,
Yeah,
and they have like Dean's the older one, Sam's the younger one.
It's kind of like a detective show, but with supernatural elements. So
Yeah.
they go into a place and they try to figure out what the thing is, and they try to figure out how to kill it, essentially.
Okay, well, then I'm going to think you have the most popular radio station in New York, and I'm going to go old school. I'm going to say they named themselves WKRP. Only some people will get that reference. And it's broadcasting on New Year's Eve. And little do they know, and this is in the future where anarchy reigns. Little do they know, the janitor of the radio station, as they're pitching their New Year's show or giving their New Year's show, he is a demon that is going to take over the airwaves, and he's going to use his high-tech device to broadcast his signal, and just kind of like, was it Wonder Woman, the second Wonder Woman, which sucked, but like he was gonna like mind control everybody through the airwaves until, what's her name, Sam and Dean?
Yep.
Sam and Dean,
Yep.
Until they show up, because they're the only ones who know his true origin, and so it's a race against time. Can they stop him before he unleashes his mind control over the city?
Excellent.
Okay. I like it a lot.
Supernatural season 16 coming soon.
There we go. There we go.
And Supernatural, I thought you may have seen Supernatural, because it actually, according to Jamie, falls into your TV show rule of the first 5 seasons being the best, and then the remaining 10 seasons. According to Jamie, I actually like the remaining 10 seasons because I think they're good. But according to Jamie, from season 6 onwards, it goes down.
Yeah, it's a different show. We already talked about this earlier, Ryan, when you were off screen.
Oh, did you? Okay, my bad.
It's all right. I literally said, because Ryan's not here, I can talk about this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I like it. I understand where you're coming from, but I really like there's a whole bunch of ideas in the later seasons that I really actually like. So
that's why I said that's why I said like season 6 to 10, season 6 to 15 work as a new show. But we're not here to talk about Supernatural. Anyway, thank you for joining us, Russell. It has been a blast.
Yes, thank you for having me. I've had a great time. You guys are great. I love what you guys are doing to help the indie authors, being an indie author yourself and helping to prop up the indie author community. So definitely thank you for doing that.
Well, next time you've got a book coming out, let us know. We'll have you back on. We do have people coming back all the time. Ben Scheckman came back on recently because we really are. And as Chris from the Bearded Book Beast say, like, we're friends forever now. We're part of the community, and we're here to support you. So what we're going to do now is support you even more and give you the floor to plug yourself, tell people where they can follow you and where we can buy your books, and anything you want to say. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. You can follow me. I'm on most of the social media platforms. I'm on X. I have a YouTube channel. I'm kind of getting into TikTok. I don't totally get it, but I'm trying to get more of a presence in TikTok and Instagram. But I'm probably, my biggest following is on X. And I can give you after this.
I was going to say, I tried to find you on X, but I couldn't. So what name are you using on X?
God, I gotta find my own. You know what? Because my name is actually, I've heard people say it's strange. Mine actually comes off like a bot name. I guess it's weird because mine is at Russell 99695573.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not savvy enough to have changed it, but that's what they assigned me when I signed up for X. So it's at Russell 99695573. Probably, and I try to post, so you may know me, or people know me as you do, Jamie, as the dog walking author, because I like to post videos of me walking my dogs and whatever comes to mind that morning as I go out. And I don't record the video every day, but I like to, whatever's on my mind. Mostly half the topics are probably writing-ish topics, something to do with writing or publishing. And then some are just pop culture, whether I'm thinking about the latest D&D marketing picture or thinking about the new Superman movie or Fantastic Four. I'll give thoughts of that. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys football fan, so sometimes I'll rant about how terrible they are this year. So it kind of depends on, a lot of times it's whatever I open up on X that morning, and sometimes I'll see a topic that's just like, oh God, I got to respond to this. So I'll just jump on in my walk and I'll record a video and post that usually on X or YouTube. And definitely, please check out Relentless Blades. We've kind of talked about it, but if you like fantasy, if you like gritty fantasy, you like a lot of action, pretty much everybody who's read my book will say the combat scenes are cinematic. And that comes from my love of reading Salvatore. So when you're reading my combat scenes, you're in the middle of the fight. Every sword swing, fireball throw, axe swing, whatever, you are right there in the middle of the combat. So I've been told a lot of people really enjoy that. But I like to say my books also have a deeper level. So you can read it just as a straight epic thrill ride, action adventure, and be perfectly satisfied. But I also tried to go a little deeper with these books. So Relentless Blades talks about themes of discrimination, and you'll read Grimlock. He's a half Scrawn, so he's caught between the two worlds of human and Scrawn, and he's the humans and the other races don't like him because he's a Scrawn. So he's kind of an outcast. So he's searching for that identity. Then you have themes of regret for both people. So Vigilantin is a disgraced Valadian knight, and you go through the course of the story and you find out his backstory. What led him from being this noble Valadian knight to this thief in a frontier town. Like, how did he end up there? A lot of the story deals with fathers and sons. You'll see the dichotomy between Grim and his father, Vidge and his father, and how fathers influence their sons. And so, you got a lot of deeper themes if you're looking for that. If you want to read into it more than just a fluff fantasy. Now, it's fine. If you want to read it as a popcorn fantasy, it works just fine. But you can also find deeper messaging. And then when we get into Ashbound Oaths, which takes place only a month after Relentless Blade, so it picks up almost immediately. Same characters, the ones who survive.
Oh, wow.
We talked about character deaths. The ones who survive Relentless Blades are in Ashbound Oaths. And that one, very much, I wanted to explore themes of faith and what it means to grow up one way and have a certain set of beliefs. And then you get introduced to a wider world and you start to question your beliefs and what it means to, give your word. And then what if you can't keep your word? So that's why that title, Ashbound Oaths, really applies to different characters dealing with different themes of maybe they're no longer beholden to this faith that they had, the vows they had taken. Maybe someone has made a vow or a pact to their friends, a pledge, a promise that they end up breaking. And I think you talked about, Jamie, both these books have multiple points of view. So Relentless Blades, you have Vidge and Grim. It's their points of view intersecting. Then Ashbound Oaths has 3 different stories all happening simultaneously with different sets of characters. So you really including the bad guy. And so you see his motivations and what he's dealing with as you get the groups of heroes all coming together. So I hope you check it out if you like fantasy. I don't think you can go wrong. I'm biased, but
it's the best way to be. It's how you got to sell your stuff. So guys, the links to all Russell's stuff will be down in the show notes. Please check that out. Grab some great fantasy, support a great indie author, and support our other indie authors, Rebecca Castles and Martin Kearns. Check out their stuff and buy Ryan's shirt, because if I don't say buy Ryan's shirt, he will murder me. And I'll become a character in his horror life. Please. Send it me. Thanks again, Russell, for joining us, and keep supporting those indie authors, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for having me. Take care.
See you next time.